story of each other for like years. Tonight's the first night that we actually met, but I have heard so many wonderful things about her. Amy Chadwick is her name, and she has helped many people in the community because she is a naturopath. And she works here in Encinitas and has a clinic at the Four Moons Spa. Who knows where that is? Right off Vulcan. Beautiful. It looks like you step into Bali when you go there. So I just want to get a little check-in about our live and see if we're going live. Miss Tanya, are we live? We live. Okay, hi guys. Thanks for watching. So I just want to make sure that we capture all of what is going to be shared tonight because I have a really good feeling about this. So Amy is going to share with us tonight about the value of creating a morning ritual. So how many have a morning ritual that you stick to? Wonderful. How many of you would like to have a morning ritual? Yeah. I feel like in my personal practice, I feel like it's always changing. Like I do something for a little while and then I'll change it to something else and I'll change it to something else. And when I spoke with her on the phone, she really enlightened me on something really valuable, which is, really about creating something that is unique to your own being, your own person. Because we're all different, right? We all have different ways of doing life, and we are made of different things. We have, these really different ways of being. And so she'll speak to us tonight a bit about that, about the value of creating something that's really special and unique to you. So welcome, Dr. Amy Chadwick. Yeah. About the morning ritual.
All right, welcome. Thank you, Betsy and Matt, for inviting me to do this. It's really beautiful to be here. And they did. Say hello to Facebook Live. It's beautiful to be here today, so thank you for all of you. So, they asked me to speak on morning routine, and I would love for everybody just to take a quick moment and just kind of take a breath and settle into yourself. And just notice, what does it even feel like in your body when I say those words? Morning routine. Kind of feels like a train horn, actually. It is. I think it's so funny because so many of us are like, I think I should do that. I think I should have a morning routine. But fundamentally inside, there's this little I don't want to be a person of routine. I think especially in our community, we like being free-spirited and going with the flow and all of these things. And so sort of this question of what is this? I'm going to have you just think of a couple other words here. How about discipline? Or container? Or rhythm? Rhythm's nice. That was a good one. All right. So we'll see how those evolve as we talk today. So I know several of you raised your hands and said that you have a morning routine. I would actually argue that everybody in this room has a morning routine. You may not be conscious of it because that's the very nature of the word routine. The synonyms of routine are mundane, habitual, sort of not noticed. That's what a routine becomes. It's just something that's in our life that we no longer really pay that much attention to. And so for some of you, your morning routine might be hitting the snooze button 4 times. Or picking up your phone and checking social media or the news before you get out of bed. Or having your ritual cup of coffee or matcha. Or taking the dog for a walk. Or brushing your teeth. Or cuddling with your kids. Every single one of us has something that is habitual in our mornings. So the question isn't really whether or not to have a morning routine. It is that morning routine working for you? Is it serving you? Is it setting the container for your day that allows for divinity and oneness to shine through you in your unique way throughout the entire day? For me, that's the point of how we start our day. And mornings are And the reason I focus on this on the morning routine is because that morning time when we first wake up is this powerful, poignant, liminal space where we move from being in sleep, but truly in oneness. While we're in sleep, we are one with the greater consciousness. And then we wake up, we open our eyes, consciousness starts seeing through our eyes. It starts feeling through our skin. It starts hearing through our ears. And yet, so many of us in that moment, in many ways, fall back asleep. We're awake in this body that consciousness is manifesting in, but we've forgotten in that moment that we're oneness. And we've forgotten that oneness is playing as us, and is playing uniquely as us, as each individual human being. And so that is the invitation of this just moment of waking, is to tap into that space and notice how that carries you through your whole day. So that's where we're gonna kind of flow with this a little bit. Doing this does take a little bit of discipline, because in order to stop and take a moment and watch, we need to be mindful of that time. And that means some things we may need to take off of our morning routine, some of the habitual things that we've gotten going, maybe we need to let go of. Maybe we need to incorporate some others in. And so I just want to give a little framework even to that word discipline. Erich Fromm, who's a mid-20th century psychologist and philosopher, explores this question. And he says, "It is essential that discipline shouldn't be practiced like a rule imposed on oneself from outside, but that it becomes an expression of one's own will. That it is felt as pleasant, and that one slowly accustoms oneself to a kind of behavior which one would eventually miss if one stopped practicing it." He goes on to say that that which is good for your body and soul must also be agreeable, even though at the beginning some resistances must be overcome. So this is not about forcing ourselves. It's not about some external, boot in the back telling us how we are. It's fundamentally about learning who we are and what our rhythms are and what our patterns are. Ayurvedic medicine says that two of the main causes for illness are being out of rhythm with ourselves and being out of rhythm with nature. So, what does that mean? What does it mean to truly be in rhythm with ourselves? And how do we get to know who we are? That becomes this really big question. What is our physiology? What is this amazingly unique way that the greater consciousness chose to show up? As you, or as me, or as my dog, or as a flower, or as a tree. There's this incredible container in each of us that life chose to be. And everyday life wants to dance in that particular container. And so one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves is to understand and know what that container is. How does it work? What does it need? And that's our fundamental questions for our morning. I personally don't want my routine to be something that is forced. I don't want it to be what 20 other people say it's supposed to be. Everybody's heard that, maybe we're supposed to get up and drink celery juice and take a run. Or maybe we're supposed to get up at 4 a.m. and meditate and do our asana practice. Or there's 100 others I could list. And everybody's quite certain that that's what is good for everybody. And I am not here to say that any of them are good or bad. And I'm not here to actually give a prescription. So in this, there won't be any prescription for a specific routine. The people who know me well will often joke that when asked any question, and as a doctor you get asked a lot of questions in a lot of random places, I will always answer, it depends. My students were even going to make a t-shirt for me at some point. That was going to be my answer. And that's not my way out of conversation. I'm not backing my way out with that answer. That's actually my way to enter deeper into the conversation. Because it takes me into that conversation of who are you and what do you need? And I can't answer the question about what's best for you until I know that information. And each one of us has the responsibility and gift to do that for ourselves. And morning gives us that opportunity to do that. So I personally want my mornings to be imbued with delight and wonder and this question of how does life want to dance through me today? So how do we get to know our own rhythms, our own physiology? We have to ask some questions. And we have to sit with the answers, and we need to dig a little deeper and look at what our needs are. So the big fundamental question is, who am I? What happens when we just sit with that? Who am I? There are meditative practices all over the world that really say that's the fundamental question to take into your meditation. And as all of the layers begin to peel away, where we land, and this isn't a mental thing, but where we land is simply in I am. If that's where we could land every morning and carry that into our day, we wouldn't need to do anything else. Life would just dance through us as I am. We may not be clearly in that place all the time. And so sometimes we need to look at a few other dynamics in order to give ourselves some sense of how to wake up and what to do. So what are your current routines? Look at those and say, what am I doing every morning, habitual, planned, not planned, and is it working for me? And what is the need that it is meeting? So for example, if we hit the snooze button 4 times, we're approximately giving ourselves another 30 minutes in bed. So what is the need that that's meeting? Did you need 30 minutes more sleep? In that case, maybe we need to adjust our sleeping routine so we get that 30 minutes without being interrupted by an alarm. Maybe we use the snooze button because we have this illusion that we are pushing off life for another 30 minutes. We're saying, I really don't want to deal with this day, and somehow we're convincing ourselves that by being able to hit snooze 4 times, we've delayed it that much. Again, what's the need? And this one makes us dig in a little deeper, because that need isn't actually to delay life. The need is probably something else much deeper, that our entire day is not meeting our needs appropriately, and we're feeling that frustration every morning when we wake up, and we don't want to engage in that. And so that takes us deeper. Or maybe the need is simply that we are loving the sensation of our sheets and the light coming in the window and the bird song. And hitting the snooze and spending those extra few minutes enjoying that is meeting that need. So that becomes our process, and we get to look at that. You also can look at how you feel when you wake up. If you tend to wake up sluggish, maybe you need to splash your face with cold water or move before you go into a contemplative practice. If you wake up mind racing and creative, maybe you need to do a mind dump onto paper before you step into another part of your day. So just noticing, what are the patterns that I wake up with, and what do I do? Also pay attention to what your external demands are, how much time you have, what your needs are, and really how you want to feel through the day. So for me, my morning routine is more a morning check-in, and this is as prescriptive as I'm going to get, and it's on the sheet of paper that came out with you. But it's this conscious intention to stay connected to I am. Each morning, we have that opportunity to wake up and first just say, who am I? And allow ourselves to sink in to that bigger I am. Then, that bigger consciousness takes form as our human bodies, and we need to honor that. So we don't need to just be in that wide open consciousness. We get to actually honor and delight in how it dances as us. So the next question is, how do I feel in my body this morning? Before I've put on all the mantles and the stories of how I felt yesterday and a month ago and a year ago and how I think I'm going to feel tomorrow, just notice right now, how am I feeling? How am I feeling in my body, my mind, my emotions? And check in. Also check in with what you're sensing. Our senses are our connection to safety, to trust, to being. And when we have that connection, we actually have this entire neurochemical cascade that tells us we're safe, and that modulates how we adapt in the world It helps our immune system work more efficiently. So use your senses as this amazing tool for how consciousness shows up. Ask what's bringing you pleasure. And then ask, what do I need? And this is where you step in and you really honor, this is what I need. And without any judgment about how I'm feeling, without any judgment about what I need, just as we would for anybody else that we love dearly, we would say, how can I meet that need? And maybe we can meet it in that moment, maybe we can meet it in that day, maybe we tell ourselves, I'm working on it, and I'll meet it this year. And all of that is okay because we've given that message to ourselves that we are going to meet the need. We're going to honor ourselves. We are not going to abandon and neglect ourselves today. That's my invitation for your morning routine, to really know yourself, to step in, to play in this dance of life, to let yourself be imbued with consciousness every day, to delight in that movement. Mark Nepo, poet and philosopher, calls this remembering and drinking from the river of light. He says, and so you don't have to work to find what is lasting and enlightened. You simply have to open your heart and let what's there flow. The rest will follow. Expression will find you. For water finds water, light finds light. Feelings find meaning, and love finds love. So I invite you into a morning practice of staying in conversation with life, no matter what it holds. Be real, be honest, know your needs, and stay close to that pulse of how it shows up for you every day. Thank you.